Hey YouTube, it is me, Shane of FABFITFUN and welcome back to my channel. As always, love having you guys here. Now we are back with another Insecure recap. I think we're week 6. Is this week 6? Yes, week 6, episode 6. And you know what? I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Like, I struggled getting up doing a review for this because I was like, it's a slow episode. Don't really need to do a recap, but it needed to be done because we still gotta have a dialogue about Issa post block party. So today I got some Panera bread. I love Panera bread. Panera bread's one of my favorite places to eat, and I felt like, I want to be slightly like, fast food bougie. And so I got Panera bread. I got this is the spicy Thai salad. I got a cubano sandwich. I felt like having pork today, so that's why we got that. And then I decided instead of getting the roll, I got potato chips and I got some apple. And I generally never get pastries from Panera Bread, but today I felt like having a cookie. So we got I think it's what it's called, the kitchen sink cookie. There's mad stuff going on in this cookie. So that's probably going to be soups delish. So we're going to hop into this video, but before we do that, if it's your first time ever seeing me in this lovely face, hi, welcome. I am Shayna of TheThickestCloset.com, and I do a little bit of everything here on this channel. So you should go ahead and subscribe, hit that red button down below because I'm super awesome. The people who are watching right along with you are super awesome. And you just come on in and join this wonderful, awesome family. But if you a oldie, but a goodie, I have nothing but love for you. So please, everybody, go ahead and hit the bell notification down below so you're notified every single time I upload a new video here on this channel. Without further ado, we're going to hop into this Panera Bread and recap of episode 6. Before I do any of my reviews, I always try to peruse social medias, the YouTubes, and I always try to see what other people are their thoughts about Insecure is. And a lot of the chatter among the tube of the views was that, this episode was slow, it was boring, and I think we needed a slow episode because I think that's how shows work. They ebb and flow. So you had like this finally a freaking climactic of Miley and Issa, right? Because they had been going back and forth for forever and a day, right? So it's like, finally, y'all, good, you're here. I don't think we needed to go keep digging and digging and digging. Like, all right, this happened. Now we have to decompress. Because this is not how, the constant rah, 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 that's not how people, how we handle situations like that, right? Usually, you have that climax and there is a day after. There is a questioning of, did you do anything right? What's going to happen? Or should I call? There is that day after, those 2 days after, even a week after, where you're questioning a lot of things about your friendship. And I think this episode of just seeing Issa kind of figuring out what was going on. Should she call Molly? Just her day-to-day after this major incident and one of the biggest pinnacles of her career has happened. It's okay that this episode was slow and that we're just watching Issa try to process. And I felt like that's what we needed to see. So how many times you done got into it with your homegirl and the next day you're like, dang, like what happened? You're trying to walk through the series of events, things that got you to that pinnacle event. So it's fair that we didn't immediately come into Molly and Issa duking it out, right? I like that she didn't have too many. I don't think she had too many outside voices besides Kelly, right? Kelly was the only one that's like, call Molly, go for Molly. Whereas when she spoke with Nathan was just there to big her up about what happened. So tell her that she did a good job. Like, Nathan had to remind her, like, you did this. Enjoy this. Like, you did it. And, even when her brother Amal called, hey, just checking on you, like, I appreciate that she didn't have everybody like, well, you need to call Molly, you need to reach out and do this. Besides Kelly, no one else was, like, pushing her to reconcile, I don't think it would have been fair for that to happen, right? What I did feel bad about, though, I will say, was her need to go out of her way to prove that she wasn't selfish. And I felt that heavy because there are very few words that offend me, especially if you're speaking to me specifically and directly, there are very few words that offend me. Fat ain't one of them. You can call me fat till the cows come home. Don't care. One of the few words on this planet that literally will break my soul is to be called selfish. And then I go into this space of like trying to prove to that the person that called me selfish and to the world and to myself that I'm not selfish. Like, see, I could do this. I can give of my time and my energy and my money. And that's exactly what Issa did. Molly's like, you're so selfish, you're this, you're that, you're shady, you're this and that. So what happens when she goes out, right? She goes to the store, tries to help the pregnant woman buy groceries, right? Or she sees the old guy that missed the bus, so she's like, let me help him out. So she's going out of her way to prove to herself that, see, you're not a selfish person. You're not. Because when Molly called her selfish, it hit her in a special place. Because especially when you don't want to, you don't, even if you are selfish unintentionally, you don't want to be called out. You don't want to be called out for that, right? So we see her trying to come back around and make up for it. Which, in my opinion, I don't think Issa's intentionally selfish as a person. Does she have selfish tendencies? Yes, we all do. Every last one of us has selfish tendencies. And a lot of times, most of us are selfish unintentionally. We do it without necessarily wanting to or even recognize that we are doing it. I don't think that makes us bad people. I don't think we have to go back around and try to fix problems in order to prove that we aren't selfish. And Issa didn't have to do that. So I felt really bad for her because you could really see what she was like, in line at the grocery store. This pregnant woman is begging for help and people are passing her up. So she's like, dang, let me just help her. And then the lady had like $150 bill. Like, God damn, how much help did you need? And then her card gets declined, which, listen, I know that fear all too well. To be perfectly honest with you. So, you see her trying to do these things, and then her interaction with George made me mad, because old people sometimes be getting on my last good nerve. The way he was talking was a little bit on the reckless side. I was just like, bruh, who made you mad? What happened to you? But you see her trying to, make up for whatever issues that she felt like she needed to reconcile for. You know what I'm saying? Give my saddle a little shake. There we go. Gotta make sure it's coated. So yeah, I was really bothered for her for most of this episode because I felt like she's really searching for a lot of things that she's not sure where to find more. Whatever she's really looking for, like what validation she's looking for. When she goes to that paint and sip, which I thought it was a cool idea. Take yourself out. Like, have fun. And she meets this group of girls, which we won't get into that in a little bit because they was trash. We see her in this mission to kind of like get out of her space. And I appreciated that because after you have buried yourself in this one project for months on end, you gave up TSA Bay, your best friend ain't talking to you, have all these things that had you buried, your head was buried in the sand over these things over the last few months. All you want to do is just get out. Try something different. Go explore something else. And I think that's why she went out and did what she did. Why she went to the paint sip by herself. Why she agreed to go to lunch despite what happened. She just needed to be out of a comfort zone, out of a space that she had been buried in for a very long time. And quite frankly, I can appreciate that. I'll be perfectly honest. I was very much happy when she saw Molly at that restaurant at the end and opted not to go in. I was literally screaming at the TV like, Issa, don't you go in there. Don't you go in there, Issa. Like, I legit was like, yo, she better not walk in there. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because with Issa's somebody that doesn't really care for confrontation, but when she's presented with it, she doesn't know how to, she's not in the mind space to understand how to interact or how to function, right? So we know she awkward as hell. So had she gone into that restaurant when she saw Molly, she would have given in and nothing would have been reconciled because she would have gone back to the same cycle of Issa being Issa. So like when she said to Kelly, she's like, I'm tired of always being the one to have to call and reach out and all this other stuff, you know. Like that I get that. I feel that. Like I shouldn't have to always be the one to apologize. Like we both was wrong. Why do I have to be the one to always apologize? Why do I have to always pull up to you to come apologize? You know, to have this conversation. Like, no. And I get that. I felt that. While they both suck tremendously at communication, that situation at the block party was fully Molly's fault. I'm sorry. You know, that whole situation, like we talked about last week with last episode, Molly was wrong. And I don't think Issa should have to come up out of her space to apologize for Molly's problem. No. We already established there's other ways that could have been handled and have to go that way. And Molly chose to do that. So, nah, sis, you're wrong. When I saw, like, you know, the whole episode, I just kept thinking, like, don't call Molly. Please don't call Molly. Or don't call her. I don't appreciate Kelly pushing it on her, though. Because I hate friends like that. You know, always be the bigger person. Be the bigger person. Blah, 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 blah. And Kelly and Tiffany's situation most certainly is not the same as Molly and Issa. Kelly and Tiffany most certainly had their issues, but they're not as toxic for each other as Molly and Issa are. Molly and Issa have a serious superiority inferiority complex going on. Kelly and Tiffany have been able to rebound, and Kelly's trying. And, you know, we can't even speak for Tiffany, but, you know, Tiffany's character has always been this, you know, the stush. So her not changing is not a surprise. Molly and Issa are on a very different problematic playing field than Kelly and Tiffany were last season. So I don't necessarily think that using their situation is a good point for Kelly, because she was like, well, remember when me and Tiffany were going through things? I was like, yeah, y'all not the same, sis. Especially since it was still fresh. I don't think it's fair to constantly push somebody who's hurt to reach out. Let them process. Let them grieve. Like, to constantly be like, well, you gotta call her. Like, if Issa decides that she wants to call Molly, let her call Molly in her own time. Why are we pushing her so hard to call Molly? I'm just saying. You know, and I mean, for her to be like, you know, yeah, I've been trying to call Molly and she ain't answering this, that, and the third, like, that says a lot about Molly. Because Molly see you calling. And she know why you calling and refusing to answer. At least Issa answering the phone. I'm happy that she stood her ground. I'm happy that she's putting herself first. Because I feel like this is selfishness that needs to happen for a lot of people that a lot of us don't do. Like, you cannot continue to hurt yourself to make other people feel better. So at some point, you got to be selfish with that, sis. You got to be selfish for yourself. Be like, listen, I'm not reaching out. My mental health is more important. I'm not going to be the one to constantly reach out to you and see if you're okay and ask these questions. And when you the one that came to my event on more than one occasion and act out, but I'm the one that got to apologize for your actions? Oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. No ham, no turkey, no salami. Absolutely not. No, ma'am. Let's talk about this disaster of dining bitch situation. You know, I don't like people like that. I really, you know, girl. And it makes me sad because it's like, that's what y'all do for a girls' weekend? Y'all dining and dashing? That's just, ooh, that made me mad. Like, first of all, how low can you be that you literally planned to, like, dupe somebody out of a dinner? I mean, yeah, it was funny. Like, I'm sure somebody was like kikied, and then some people feel like Issa deserved it for being too friendly and too open. But like, this is why when they said no new friends, this is what we meant. Because when you try to open yourself up, you try to be like, you know what? Let me step out of my boundary and try something different. And then you come across 3 dumb knuckleheads that decide that they're gonna dine and dash on you. You know, just. And then, you know, you try your best to not be out here like putting past problems on people, but it's like, well, damn, I tried and look what happened. Wow. This cookie is fire. Focus, Shay. But no, seriously. I thought that was whack. That was dumb whack. Like, what? But what I did like about the encounter she had with the three women while they were having drinks, when they asked her what did she do, I think this was for the first time Issa really had a chance to sit down and break down what she does. And I thought it was great that she titled it Culture Curator, because that's a fantastic title and it really speaks to what Issa had been trying to do since she was with We Got Y'all. And it was really cool to kind of see her come into a different level in that moment, right? I don't know about y'all, but I peeped it because she was really like, yo, like, yeah, I bring together culture and music and food and this and that and put on an event. Sometimes it takes like that, a different set of eyes, different set of ears to put things in perspective for you. Because when a girl was like, oh, so you do marketing and you do events, she's like, yeah, a little bit of both. And to kind of for her to finally be able to say, this is what I do, I was like, come on, Eve. Go to, if you meet a lawyer, they're lawyers, right? There's different kinds of lawyers, but a lawyer is a lawyer. They kind of have a general space of what a lawyer does. Therapists, general space of what they do. But then you enter people who don't have necessarily one calling, right? So I plan events, but also do marketing, but also I pull cultural aspects of my neighborhood together. And then I do this and then I do that. And it's like, we have all these things, but what are you? And we're always trying to put a label and a name to what we do for a living. I was so proud of Issa for having that moment, be like, you know what? If I could call it anything, I'm a cultural curator. And I was like, Issa, hallelujah. Come on, Issa. I was so proud of her. I literally clapped in the room because I was like, that's major for her to be able to say, this is who I am and this is what I do. So proud of her. Because I really wanted her to gas up the block party. Like, sis, you just threw a whole block party that people actually had a great time at. Like, she was going, when she had that final moment at the end of this episode where she goes on Facebook and people are like, where are we going to have more events like this? I would love to see more things like this. I would love to have more opportunities like this in our neighborhood. And for Issa to kind of have this moment where yo, I could do this. You see her responding stay tuned, more events coming, more this, more that. So she finally has a lane that she's been trying to figure out what it is. And that she's in this lane. And I'm just like, girl, yes. Yes. Finally, she has a lane that I think, one, that she wants to be in and one that she deserves to be in, right? And not kind of waffling here, waffling there. I'm all over the place. She finally has a lane that is for and only Issa. And that was amazing to me. I was here for it. And I was very proud of her for, I was proud of Issa this entire episode. As slow as this episode was, and there wasn't a lot going on, and all the extraness that was happening in previous episodes, I appreciated that Issa slowed down for a hot second and came to terms with a lot of things for herself. That's what was major to me. That's what I appreciated the most out of this episode. This is why this episode, I don't think was trash. I don't think it was basuda, as people were out here on Facebook, because a lot took place, but you really have to pay attention to the things that are not necessarily a lot happening. It literally was you got to really watch what Issa was doing. A lot of different things started to come together for Issa in this episode. And I cannot wait to see how she moves forward, because I think now that she has understanding of who she is in her career, right, she'll navigate different relationships, specifically one with her and Molly, much differently. She'll be able to stand more confidently 10 toes down and who she is as Issa, because she started to define herself in multiple facets of her life, right? She has her apartment together. She's kind of happy with, where she is with Lawrence, and she's okay with that, right? And then the biggest obstacle she had been dealing with since season 1, right, was this career. And now that she's figured out a passion and how she's operating in this passion right now, you know what I'm saying? She's figured it out, and now she can stand 10 toes down in her other relationships. And that's major. So, Issa, I'm proud of you, girl. Clap, 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 clap to you, ma'am. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about this episode. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments section down below. You guys know I really appreciate your perspectives on the episodes as we go along. I am I didn't even open the chips. I'm going to have an apple for later. This cookie we're going to have to put her in the microwave, get a little warm, a little toasty. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Deuces.